Yo, what is up, YouTube? It is James here, and today we're going to be doing a channel update as well as a update to myself competing in competitive Pokemon. So I do want to give some disclaimers before we do get this video started. Number one is that it is going to have some spoilers for the Wolfie Draft League Season 2. So if you haven't watched the first 3 weeks of the Wolfie Draft League, highly recommend go check them out because the results will be spoiled otherwise. So make sure you go check out those videos. Second one, this might sound a little bit harsh, but this is all the topics I'm talking about in today's video. I'm not really looking for opinions, sympathy, any of those kinds of things, really. This is something I'll eventually figure out for myself, like all these thoughts that I am about to share in this video. But basically, what I want to do is just like give the audience who does watch me for competitive Pokemon, who I think have the right to know of like what is my future looking like in both content as well as competitive, the rights of like what I'm currently thinking of in the current landscape of things. So this is basically just to share like what's in my head right now about the topics. And then third thing is, do not accuse me for this being clickbait or monetization thing, because this video is literally not even going to have ads, literally not going to be monetized whatsoever. So let's get all that out of the way. And yeah, there's not going to be any music because I guess this is going to be more a serious topic. But if you guys want to play some background music for some reason that would add to the atmosphere, I recommend Ace Attorney's Dual Destinies Reminiscence Wandering Heart theme. I think that's what's called. I'm pretty sure. But that would probably add to the setting. So let's get started with, I think, for what a lot of you come here for, which is going to be watching me for competitive VTC content. And that is going to be the update here that I'm about to share is, yeah, that's not going to really change anytime soon. I enjoy making VTC content, and it is still going to be a thing that I will be very much doing. If you watch me from the main channel stuff, where I just, of course, do the general VTC uploads, that's probably not changing anytime soon. So there will be definitely still a inflow of VTC content that's just going to be coming out, and there actually will probably be more. If you're interested in more VTC content from myself, I will probably be posting a little bit more on this bonus channel here, as well as some other platforms too, because I never thought I would really say that I would be potentially exploring short form content, but here we are. As y'all know, if you watch my streams, or if you do watch my streams, yeah, I am someone who like never watches shorts. Like any short form content, I am just not on. I don't watch TikTok reels. I don't watch, or TikToks. I don't watch Instagram reels. I don't watch YouTube shorts. But I always was interested in the realm of making them potentially, because it's such an important form of media in today's modern society of like attention spans and or the attention economy in general. So I really was interested in, maybe looking to dabble in it. I've done like a few TikToks here and there in the past. But yeah, we will be on this channel, the bonus channel, as well as some other platforms, which I'll link below if I remember to make them before this video goes up. Yeah, we'll be exploring short form content for the time period, especially because I think it's a great time since Champions Mobile did drop and has huge success. A lot of players are just getting into VGC because of the mobile champions thing. So they're probably looking for content on their phone because that's probably something that everyone does have. So I think a lot of people in the world, because of statistics, do actually watch short form content on their phone. So I'm gonna see what I can do VTC wise with it. I'll be doing some experiments and see if it's something I would be interested in doing for a while. Maybe it'll be a main staple, but of course, main long form VTC content is where I'm going to go to, and that's why I'm keeping my main channel currently the same. I'm not going to be adding short form content there. I'm going to be experimenting with this bonus channel and several other platforms. So they'll have more VTC content from me, not only short form, but I'll also do some long form here on the bonus channel here and there. So yeah, just more uploads from me in general. So that's going to be a big thing. And streams, I always say that streams are like, every time I say I'm going to stream more consistently, it just ends up happening where something just goes where I'm become incredibly busy, where I just can't stream as consistently as I would have wanted to. But yeah, so I'm going to say that streams are probably going to be a bit more consistent. No promises there, but realistically, I am hoping for the ideal situation, 2 streams at least a week, multi-streams on both Twitch and YouTube. And yeah, maybe up to 4, but that's pushing it. Probably 2 to 3, probably per week is where we're going. But yeah, there will probably be more James streams as we continue. So That's going to be the big update to content. Basically, there's going to be more content. So if you are a fan of the VGC videos on the channel, yeah, that's not going to change anything. And if you are interested in the new form content, yeah, that's going to be a huge plus. And if not, there might be even just more long form content in general because I might post more on the bonus channel. So yeah, like it's just a huge win, I think, all around there. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is going to be, this is a topic that I didn't know how I want to carry this because number one, I want to make this a bit short. Like I want this entire video to be less than 25 minutes, but I've gone into videos where this is like my 20th time, literally 20th time trying to make this video. And I think the shortest I've had is like 40 minutes and the average time is like 50. So yeah, I'm just going to try to speak and we'll just see how it goes from here. So basically, ever since I started competing in Pokemon VGC back in 2009, yes, I am a VGC boomer. I probably have played VGC longer than a lot of players have in general. I started competing seriously back in 2014, and 2014 was the year I was able to get my first, well, one, it was my first full-length competitive season, and then I was also actually able to qualify for the World Championship that year, and ever since 2014, I was able to qualify for every single World Championship since. It's been since 2014 up to last year, and last year to 2025 was my 10th World Championship. There was like a few years gap because of the pandemic that happened, but yeah, I've been competing in VGC World Championships ever since, and it's always been like a huge blessing and something I really always look forward to because something I do love in this game, and I think that just kept me around, was playing the highest level games at the World Championship. Just basically, I'm playing well usually against opponents that are also playing well, and we're trying to fight and claim for the title. I think that's something I always super enjoyed at the World Championship, was always something I was looking forward to every single year. And this season, 2026, it's been a rough one. This is the first year I am not qualified for the World Championship. This is the first season that I have missed, and it's actually crazy when I think about it because it's literally been a thing that has been, this would have been World Championship number 11 if that's the case, but I'm proud enough to go into the double digit. Like, I made an update video about a year and a half ago. This was back in 2024, and I said in 2024 towards the 2025 season that I wouldn't have been surprised if I wasn't going to get my Worlds invite that year. And the reason is that I basically was just YOLOing tournaments back then. I was bringing teams that I like had barely or never tested to events, and yeah, I just didn't really have the time. So I ended up being really fortunate that year. I was able to qualify because I just had really good consistent results. I was able to day 2 pretty much every event I went to. And yeah, like I had a really big blast, and the 2025 World Championship was definitely something of a spectacular event that I was super shocked at. And I think to really analyze that one, we should go back a little bit, where 2014 to 2019, which was like probably the big era. Of course, that was before the pandemic happened, where times have changed, right? So back in 2014, I was basically in high school back then. Like I started VGC when I was like in middle school, and then when I was in high school, I, of course, as a high school to like beginning college, you have a lot more free time, and I was able to really just be able to, you know, play a lot of VGC. I was able to really put in the hours, and I was able to really just, I think, master it. So I was really able to just become an expert just by putting in a lot of hard work, and I was able to just reach a level where I was able to do really well at events, like especially towards the later half. I was able to qualify for every World Championship, of course, and that was even in the Masters division when I aged up in 2015, and then every single year was still qualifying for Worlds. I was top cutting events. I wasn't top cutting the majors, but I was still top cutting the regional events generally, and I was still pretty dominant at the local scenes, so I was able to qualify for every World Championship. And 2018 was really where it started kicking off, because I won my first regional championship back then. Was able to get top 4 at the regional literally the next weekend right after that. And then 2019, I had like one of the most craziest season runs that players ever had in this game. I was able to get second place at the first international this season, was able to top cut the Oceania one. I was able to get top 6 in NIC. I was able to win 2 regionals in that season. I was able to get top 4 at the World Championship. And then a few months later, I was able to win the first international that I've had. So yeah, it was an incredible, crazy season, and just was able to showcase like I was really putting in the hard work, and the hard work was paying off. And I think that's something that's super fortunate, because something that I'll always say is that hard work is something that's not always rewarded, for sure, but you need to put in the work for a chance for it to blossom, I guess. And I just put myself in the best position possible, where all that hard work, where I had good tournament results, good teams, and I was playing well, all of those aligned in order to allow me to do well at those events. And yeah, I think that is something that really helped for my success. And I think I was just in a really good position back in the, especially like towards the beginning of 2020. So yeah. And then 2020 rolls around, and yeah, then we had the pandemic and all that. And yeah, something I should also probably note as well is that every time I probably had my highest highs, like, you know, like winning the regional championship or doing well at the internets, usually it's followed by like balances out with highest highs and lowest lows. I'll always tell that the story of being a competitive player in any video game is you're going to have your new high points and you're going to have your newest low points. And yeah, that's something that just happened consistently. I remember right after like that weekend, or the 2 weekends where I won a regional and then getting top 4 back to back, I ended up like just bombing my next 3 events, which was NIC, Worlds, and the first regional back. And then like after the international win in 2019 and switching to Sword and Shield, let me just say there are a lot of Dynamax crits, and let me just say Max Moves critting. Who thought that was a great idea? Who really thought that was a great idea? But yeah, then we can fast forward to like 22, and this is kind of where it gets started, right? Because during 2019, 2020, I was basically just still in like my early years of college. Fast forward to like 22, when the pandemic basically shut things down, and then finally we get the competitive circuit resuming. I basically was already graduated at college, and you know, when you grow up, for those of you who are in my younger audience, yeah, when you grow up, you end up having more responsibilities, so you have a lot less free time. So make sure you enjoy the time that you do have. So yeah, I found myself in a position where like I was already qualified for the World Championship at that point. I already had a paid trip because like from the previous World Championship in 2019. So I was in a position where I was kind of just messing around at that point. So I ended up going to 3 events in total. I missed out on EUIC. I didn't get the signups, unfortunately, because events were still like capped back then. And yeah, I wasn't able to go to EUIC. And then pull up to my first regional. That was actually one of the worst regional results I had at the time. And I think, yeah, it's probably the worst regional result I might have had, where I dropped at like 1-2, I think. And it's because you couldn't top cut at 1-2, I believe, because it was like an X1 cut back in the day. So like 1-2, basically you were out. So yeah, I couldn't do anything about it. And then NIC, I got pretty lucky, because it's actually funny. I brought the team I was going to use at EUIC, and I was actually working a bit when I was wanting to do EUIC, but, you know, stopped when I couldn't go to EUIC. But I had some really good friends who helped me fill out a matchup doc and was giving me advice throughout the tournament about like how to pilot the team in general. So I was able to end up doing really well and getting a top 8 at NIC, which was really nice. I felt like I was playing really well, especially too. And then Worlds pops around in 22. And let me just say, even though I really wanted to run back, it was really hard to stay motivated in Dynamax format, really. But yeah, so I ended up building a team where I was like, okay, I'm just going to use the tools that I really liked back in 2019, because it's kind of similar, and see how it goes. And you know what? All that practice that I did back in like the 2019 season paid off in 22. I had a really good team composition. It was a great call for the event. I played extremely well, and even though there was a lack of practice with that team specifically, the fact that all the skill sets just carried on from 2019 to 22 really did showcase there. And I felt like I played pretty well, and again, able to make it back to back top four world trophies, which I've been very fortunate, as I said before, in this game where I've been able to accomplish a lot that most players have not. So yeah, like it was definitely a very fortunate. I think that's probably my most blessed worlds run because it definitely could have gone a different way, especially with like, not practicing. That definitely could have been like a pretty bad result there. So was super fortunate. And then, I knew I want to. I saw how I was playing back in like 22 after I finished the 22 World Championship. I'm thinking about like, okay, I did really well even without going super, super hard on practicing for those events. I would really like to see where I could go with the game if I am able to actually like work really hard and try to win the event. So I really want Scarlet and Violet to be a different thing. So we move on to Gen 9. This is the 2023, and some IRL stuff got in the way. Let me just say I was not great mentally in the beginning of the Scarlet and Violet era, and yeah, it just really bled into me like not really being able to practice at all. And I probably shouldn't have gone to the events I went to. The only reason I went to events is because I was sponsored back then, so it was more like, okay, I'm going to these events, I might as well still, just still compete in it. But yeah, it definitely showed that I wasn't nearly as like fluent in my game as possible, and I'm usually not great at the beginning of a generation. It usually takes me a while to adjust to like any new mechanics or anything. So like I was still getting used to Terra. I think we all were, but like usually I do need like quite a bit of like just time to adapt, I guess. So yeah, probably not events I probably should have attended, but yeah, or maybe I really did need to find time, but like again, it wasn't the greatest time for me personally. And it kind of bled over because I just wasn't able to really, you know, I think go for like a lot of practice in general throughout Scarlet and Violet. And that definitely did showcase, I think, throughout the years because Scarlet and Violet had like it wasn't terrible, I guess. I still had like several day twos, but I do think that it was obviously the weakest generation results that I've had ever. Like, and I mean ever in competing. I think Gen 6, Gen 7, I had like way better results like throughout a spread. And then Gen 9 just like wasn't really a best spread. Gen 8 is like kind of weird because so there were very few events in Gen 8, but yeah. Definitely did seem a bit a lackluster, especially like the results that I had like at the internets and worlds before it. It's just yeah, it definitely seemed strange. Like I still, at least on the one thing that I went for, like worlds, I still kind of had a bit of a fire. So like if I was practicing for an event, it was definitely worlds. Like I still qualified for worlds in 23 and I still qualified for worlds in 24. So 23 and 24, I still grinded the heck out for those tournaments because I still love playing at the World Championship. So I ended up grinding out for the 23 World Championship. For those of you who don't know that story, I'll link it down below in the comments about a thread about like my experience at that World Championship. But that World Championship was just like not the best run. I'll just recap it at that. And then 24 Worlds, I took a big risk. I brought a team that was very, very risky, and unfortunately that risk didn't pay off. And I still think I had a lot of fun, especially because I really did enjoy practicing for those world championships. Again, Worlds is always the tournament I'm always looking forward to every year, and it's probably like the one tournament I'm really like the thing that keeps me back in VGC or wants me to keep going because I think world championships are the things that I enjoy. Regionals and internationals haven't really felt the same to me. I think it's just because I've had like the accomplishments that players have wanted. The one thing I've really wanted ever since like 2019 or like was that, the golden. I've gotten like everything else. I just need the world's win. So that's basically like the one tournament I did care for, and I think that also kind of affected 23 as well. Not only because it was like a bad mental state in the early parts of 20 or the 23 season with Scarlet and Violet and how it just kind of bled out, but I think my motivation also just kind of like was a bit lackluster towards like the events qualifying to Worlds, because all I really wanted to play was Worlds, because Worlds is the one tournament I really, really look forward to. And then every else was like, it was hard to, I think, motivate myself to keep playing, even though it's like, obviously you need to play and do well in those tournaments in order to qualify for Worlds. I was at least still able to usually qualify for Worlds. So like I had some results, 24 regional. I was able to win Peoria, which was lucky. That was lucky. I did practice for that event, but like it wasn't with the team that I used because every team wasn't feeling great. So I built that one like the night before, and it just had one of those tournament runs where I always say, like, to have a good tournament run, you need a good team, you need to be playing well, and you need decent RNG, whether it's like fortunate RNG or at least neutral RNG. And I had pretty much neutral RNG for the entire tournament. So I was very, very happy about that because I didn't really have moves that could miss. And I was just playing really well with a team that was actually a really good call and was super solid. So yeah, I was very fortunate with that Peoria win, was able to top 16 LIC, which was actually a tournament I did practice for. That tournament I did practice pretty hard for that event. And yeah, the 24 season, like rest wise, it did feel a bit of a chore, but I did qualify for Worlds. And again, as I said before, it was that risky tournament. 25, I think it started where after the two really bad Worlds runs back to back, like those were my worst Worlds runs in the history of myself competing in this game. Like legitimately, like those are like the combinations of wins were probably the same as like my previous low tournament realistically. So it didn't feel great. I think I was definitely getting a bit demotivated at that point. So 25 comes around and my focus really does shift attention wise because I just have new goals in mind, and VGC wasn't, or competing VGC wise wasn't the thing. And I end up making that update video where it's like, I'm going to events, but I really am pretty sure I'm probably not going to qualify at that point. So yeah, like I just go to events, and I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't qualify for that Worlds. Again, I was very fortunate in 25. I actually like still couldn't even get that fire back. Like it was like a few weeks before Worlds. I've told the story. I wasn't even sure if I was going to like prep for this Worlds. I took a huge break after that Vancouver event because like maybe I just was burnt out and maybe I needed like some time off. So I was wondering if I was getting that spark back. July, the beginning of July, it's still not looking like it. And then like a few weeks before, I get inspired just because I want to try hard at something and I really want to see where I can go. And I felt like I didn't play any events in that format specifically in Reg I, but I really did want to push myself. So I ended up like pushing out like the last 3 weeks before leading up to Worlds, the couple end weeks in July, and I got like some of the best prep instantly. Like all the prep was fantastic. Like I didn't really get like any what do I say? Yeah, like I just ended up getting really good prep in general. Like it felt like every single match that I was playing actually felt like it would actually come up at the tournament. And that's really fortunate because like a lot of events I feel like I would have practiced for. It's just like there are some matches that it's like, oh, you just definitely excluded. But like for the most part, every match was like, okay, I learned something and I'm able to apply it. And hopefully like then I can actually like use this to grow and understand my team a bit better. So yeah, 25 Worlds comes along and I end up having a really great run. Like I feel like I'm playing the best that I've ever played. I would actually equivalent, even though like it was a top 16, I feel like I was playing as well as I was in like my peak era of like 2019. Like it really felt like this was the World Championship that I was most proud of other than my 2019 run. And I think I was more proud of this run than my 22 run because I really did feel that I was playing extremely well just in general throughout that tournament. So yeah, was pretty satisfied with that one. And then maybe that satisfaction would come back to bite me. So this season, at the end of 2025, they announced that we were going to switch to the Champions era and where we were going to be playing Champions for this upcoming World Championship. And yeah, I was like, oh, a lot of players and I were thinking, oh, maybe it's going to be releasing in January or February. And then we'll have several regionals, maybe 2 internationals with Champions. So yeah, I was looking forward to it, and I would say, hey, maybe I just take another break. I'm not a huge fan of playing Scarlet Violet, and just try to lock in if I feel like it for the Champions era. So that's basically where I was at with the game. I even skipped regionals that were like really close to me and ended up just going to one event, I think, the end of that year, which was Las Vegas. And then I think we all know what happened with Champions when it got released in April. And yeah, like it's there were basically no events. It was like the two last events I would be competing at, and I was lucky if I was able to go in, which were the Indianapolis Regional Championship, the final regional championship in North America, and then the North American International Championship. So, yeah, like everything else was just going to be Scarlet and Violet. So, I ended up going to Vegas regionals just because of the fact that I've never been to Vegas before. So, I wanted to go. A lot of my friends were going as well. And it's like, oh, the boys in Vegas sounds like a really fun trip. So, I go to Vegas regionals. I was hoping that like other regionals would potentially be champions. Like I went to Seattle and EUIC because I was hoping those events could have been champions. That was the initial timeline, but of course those ended up being Scarlet Violet. And then I had registered for Orlando. I ended up skipping Orlando because I think after competing at Seattle, I definitely knew I feel like I was going to be burning out and I need to commit time to champions. Then Las Vegas, I was really hoping Las Vegas, or not Las Vegas, Los Angeles. I was hoping Los Angeles would really be champions. It was not champions. Then it was going to be Indy and NIC. So yeah. Uh, and as I mentioned before, like earlier in this video, where usually when I have my highest highs, I usually get my lowest low points. And the game will beat you down at some points, especially. And this one was pretty rough because a lot of the events I went to, I don't usually like to say like about RNG really because RNG is just a big element of Pokemon in general. Like it's just part of the game, as well as like I don't like complaining about other outside factors too. Especially because I feel that I'm very fortunate in my life right now because I don't have to worry about like a lot of things that others that have to worry about. Like for instance, I have a roof over my head. I don't have to worry about putting food on the table. I have really good friends and family. I have a really great job that great community as well that just like supports me. So yeah, like I never really feel that I like being bad luck or having bad luck in Pokemon. It feels silly to complain when everything else is basically super fortunate for me. Like I'm in a great spot in my life, so it's like always feels weird to always like if I'm complaining about like bad luck in Pokemon, it just is like okay, that's like not as big as a deal like as others. But yeah, like I think this year was pretty unfortunate wise because I was either having bad luck in the game, and I'm not talking about like just like oh you missed one move and you just lost because of that. It was like several things had to go wrong in order to get wrong. Like there were sets where like both games were involved with RNG Rise, and it's like okay, like what am I supposed to do there? Or like if it wasn't like in the game itself, it was like I had some bad luck outside of the event that kind of contributed to like okay, it's gonna affect the gameplay. For instance, like I remember waking up for Los Angeles regionals. I was hoping to be ready to go, but like I woke up with the biggest headache. And I've had like some events that happen in Scarlet Violet where it's been like that, but like man, I remember looking back at that tournament and thinking to myself, man, what was I doing? I decided to lock into with a team last minute. I should not have stuck with my Royals team. I should have used a team I was practicing with before. But like I was like, oh man, I was definitely out of it back then. I also did get a bit unlucky as well, but like that's the game too. But like you know, it just happens. But yeah, it was a combination of those two factors, and it felt like it was every single event. Like Vegas had bad RNG, but also like the lack of sleep also was pretty bad. I got really bad sleep at Las Vegas, but like just in general, like at least when I'm at the tournament, I'm gonna be locked in until like I'm eliminated. That's usually how I play tournaments. I take tournaments very seriously. The only thing I'll do is compete wise, and then once I'm eliminated is when I can chill out. But usually before the tournament and leading up to the tournament, it's game mode. It's what I'll focus on. So yeah, and I am gonna say that I do know that these do sound like excuses. Maybe they are. I'm just gonna say it as it is because I mean it is generally what happened. Like there was nothing I could really do about like some of those factors. realistically. And yeah, yeah, so I just ended up having really rough regionals leading up towards like everything. And normally I've had some pretty bad runs before. Like again, as I mentioned before, like the after I got the first regional win into top four, I had like pretty unlucky runs for Worlds, NIC, and the first regional back. But it's like, okay, I've never had that long of a streak before. And yeah, it's definitely was probably the longest. This has been definitely the longest streak of like pretty bad runs. The only fortunate one was really like at least NIC where I needed to have a pretty deep run. I needed top 32 to go for my invite. I go 5-3, so I'm not in day two. But on the bright side, at least the tournament itself, like at least it didn't come down to like really bad RNG. Sure, there was like some bad RNG in some games, but like that was fine, and I generally was able to win most of the sets anyway, so it wasn't too bad. Like I think overall, it was just like NIC was completely fine. I played against some really good players. My losses were like to Teo Time, who's they got top 16 at the previous World Championship, one of the best in Europe right now. Federico, who was a previous NIC winner. And then I played the mirror, and it's the mirror that's kind of teched out for the mirrors. So that was unfortunate to pull for my last round. It was winnable for sure. Like game one, my opponent wins. Game two, I win. And then game three, basically the scenario comes down to in the short term, I need Black Glasses King Gambit to knock out a Garchomp with 4 defense because it's the Japanese pace where it's like, okay, Kowtow Cleave and a Sucker Punch with Black Glasses. I feel like it should KO because +2 Sucker Punch can KO like no bulk Garchomp. So I'm like, Kowtow and a Sucker should get it. I go for Kowtow plus Sucker. It is at 1%, and then I lose basically off that. And it was, yeah, it definitely was something. I congratulated my opponent on making day two. I walked away and I did the calc afterward, which was probably a terrible idea, but I was like, was my head calc really that off? And yeah, it was, I double mineraled. I double mineraled Kowtow and the Sucker. So that was bittersweet because like how I got eliminated from the tournament the weekend before, which was Indy, was I got max rolled by a Mega Glamour Earth Power on my Garchomp when I was in a pretty commanding spot. And I was like, oh, I should probably be living this. And it did not. I'm like, huh? How did that KO? And it literally needed the max roll. I was at the HP that was needed for the max roll to happen. It's like, oh, wow. uh, but yeah, at least NIC I felt like was pretty clean anyway, because my losses again, Tail Time and Federico went down to really close game threes. And like if I made one adjustment or I made one really like different move potentially to aggressively come out of it, like I could have won those sets. So yeah, NIC at least it showed me that I was still able to play at a high level, and that I was close, but not enough. But like that's fine. I think it was a pretty like it could have definitely gone a different way if I got unlucky at NIC. I might have actually like been way more crashed out. But like in general, like it was a thing. So after I lose the final round, I end up seeing a friend because we're meeting up. We've been talking throughout the day. So yeah, after that. This is not exactly my proudest moment. I remember because the last time I think I've gotten super emotional about this game was 2019. And this was a moment where it's like the tears break down, like the dam burst. And it was definitely not a kind sight. I feel like, yeah, it wasn't even bad in 22 where I didn't cry at all. Like, 2019 was the last time I've had that emotion, and then this time, like, yeah, uh, it just wouldn't stop, and I was kind of shocked by this actually inside because in 24, I think I knew I was ready to accept if I wasn't going to qualify for Worlds just because of like how it was going to, but like this time it felt different. I don't know. I think it did show that I still cared, and I did practice pretty hard for the Champions events. Like I was trying to find teams to work. I was playing every day. I was trying to figure out like, okay, can I find something that worked? Unfortunately, like I just never found teams that ended up working where to my standard. So I ended up running locked in last minute teams, of teams that I was just trying in general. But yeah, I mean, it still didn't feel great afterward. And yeah, that's what happened. And like, I mean, some of you might be wondering, like, it's just a children's game, but the thing is, I think if you have ever like really super try hard for something and you really want it badly and you just like barely miss it, or that moment of failure, I think it's pretty normal to have those kinds of emotions. So that was something I was going through, and definitely the competitor side of me that I still had apparently deep inside was definitely hurting. So yeah, um, did not feel great at all. So it made me really reconsider a lot of things. And yeah, like it has been kind of frustrating at these events, but it's also like, okay, I haven't super really practiced for these events. I have tried to though. Scarlet and Violet, I did try to practice for some of the events that I was attending other than Vegas. Like during UIC, I kind of wanted an okay UIC run, but it was pretty hard to get actual good practice when the ladders are different in game compared to like the actual tournament setting. The games I was playing on PS didn't feel good and didn't feel like this was actually meaningful prep. So yeah, it just felt really rough. And then like a lot of my friends who were either just not playing at the time or just had pretty different schedules than me just was like, okay, I really was going in underprepared, but it's like, sure, like, I mean, I'm not blaming my friends or anything because, I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes. Like, because we have busy schedules and all. But yeah, like I just felt that, okay, I'm pretty much just going to have to go in blind basically. And hopefully it still works out because I've been in these situations before and I've still been able to perform at an okay level. And yeah, like it just felt probably it stung more just mainly because before EUIC of this year, I was on a pretty good day two streak where I day two pretty much every event that I attended for I think the previous 2 years before that. So UIC broke the streak, had a really, really unlucky final one to eliminate me. And then, like, yeah, then it's just been bad runs ever since. Like, I was constantly missing day twos. I was going X3 or I was dropping early. And yeah, like, definitely was just like, okay, something just does not feel good. And after getting eliminated from NAIC, and the reason I have waited to upload this video till now is mainly because of the Wolfie Draft League Week 3. Because during the time periods, like I feel like this has been a feeling for quite a bit where I've been a little bit bitter at the game, and yeah, like I think it's kind of almost I felt it bled into my content a little bit because yeah, like it's just I think the frustration's been kind of piling up, especially like um like week 3 of the Wolfie Draft League, which was uploaded now, was right before Indy, which is the main reason why like I wanted to wait till after it was uploaded because I have definitely felt it. Like I just want to play really, you know, great games in general. Like Wolfie Draft League's fun. It's not like, oh, we're like going crazy, 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 crazy competitive for this. It's more of a fun draft league. But yeah, it's just been tough because I do obviously I am a competitive person, and anyone who is a competitive person does know that like it can be a very big curse, especially like the losses definitely hurt more than just winning. So yeah, um, especially with the way the games go for the Wolfie Draft League, especially like I probably would have been satisfied even at 03 if I think of like, okay, week 1 was super unfortunate against Joey. Losing game 3 to just guaranteed just because of champions not saving my EVs, which, you know, it's funny because I did read a few comments that are like, oh, you just definitely didn't double check. And it's like, you know what? I don't blame you. Like literally, if I was probably like watching someone who did and said the exact same thing, I'd probably be thinking the same thing. But like, no, I do check these teams. I make sure. Like I did in the first draft league, I made sure that like everything was correct, and I definitely always check for this one. And I was super shocked as well that no, it actually legitimately happened. And you can believe me or not, but like that's actually what happened, which is something I was like, oh wow, I was not expecting that to happen. So I would have been okay with losing to Joey. I still think the position would have been rough, but it was like, okay, at least I get to lose on the actual turns of the game instead of like, oh, something just happened that outside of the battle that's just like, okay, it just affects the entire result. Um, and then game two or two against Mount, who is actually phenomenal draft. Like that guy's cracked. I really wanted a game three against him. I really did. I thought game two was like, even though I was still in a pretty rough position, I actually got like the turns correctly to where it's like, oh, I actually have a really good chance of at least forcing a game three here if I break through KO to Sneasler, and then Snorlax plus Rotom Heat's actually looking really good to clean up. Uh, Unfortunately, the self hit from Swagger, but it is part of the game, and he did give himself the highest odds there. Just ended that, and I was like, oh man, I really want to just try out my game three because I felt the game three would have been hype. I really want to see if my adjustment would have worked or not, but yeah, I didn't get that opportunity. And then week three against Rose, who played really well, I knew that was going to be a tough matchup. Like, I think I was probably losing that one realistically. Like, I'm more mad at myself for like throwing away the game one because I feel like I was in a really good spot game one. And then game two, the double wisp miss is like, okay, this game just does not want me to play anymore. So yeah, I felt like it's definitely kind of bled into my content a little bit, at least attitude wise. And I'm not sure if it's been like a super noticeable thing, but like I feel like I definitely have gotten the feeling before where it's like, okay, sometimes I'm recording and then it's like, I really want to stop recording sometimes. Or sometimes I'll just get super frustrated or more frustrated. And usually like when like a bad streak of RNG happens, usually I'm like pretty good with like dealing with like some bad RNG here and there, but like sometimes it's definitely been like my tolerance has definitely been lower recently. So yeah, I've definitely have felt that it has been affecting me and the joy of making content recently. So right now, luckily, it's still something that I still really enjoy making. Like, I still really enjoy content, and obviously, like, it's been doing really well. And there is, like, obviously financial motives, but, like, I wouldn't be making VGC content realistically if I just didn't enjoy making it. It's like the reason why I made it when I wasn't making money for VGC content for, like, the first 5 years of my YouTube career. So, like, I still make it because I enjoy the game, and I still do enjoy playing. I do actually still enjoy playing VGC, which is surprising where you might be thinking, oh, you just don't enjoy playing VGC. But no, it's not really the enjoying the VGC or playing VGC part that's been the thing. It's just, I think looking back at it, I'm just not been enjoying competing at events in general. Like competing at any competitive events recently. And the main reason I feel like it's been really tough competing at events recently is because I look back at the previous years, right? When, especially during 2014 to 2019, those were like, okay, I was really working hard, I was trying to solve a puzzle, and that's kind of like a thing about VGC. I usually like compare it to like puzzles where I feel like, okay, I'm trying to solve something, and like whether it's a matchup or whether it's like some final spreads that's like, okay, generally works out. And I feel like that did bring me a lot of joy, and then seeing if it will actually work in the tournament. I think recently, obviously, because as I said before, I haven't been practicing nearly as much just because I haven't had as much time. It's definitely been harder for me, I think, in general to, I just feel like I'm at this point, I'm just showing up to events and not even competing. I'm just showing up and playing, kind of like what I'm doing for content, but like at least for content, it's like very different. But yeah, it just feels like I'm just showing up to events more than like, okay, I am going to actually like, tournament lock in mode. So yeah, it's definitely, I felt like not nearly as enjoyable for me because I really do enjoy the process, of course, like being able to test for events as well as like actually like, have a team that I feel like I'm really comfortable with that I'm able to bring to an event and it'll work out. But yeah, it's definitely been tough, especially I think since Scarlet and Violet, really, that I have not really had that moment. I definitely feel like I've definitely enjoyed competing events less, and the only events that I really enjoyed competing at were like the events that I really prepped for. I think the big ones that I prepped for and it felt really well, and the results did showcase it, were the I think it was Charlotte Regionals, the early one in 23, the World Championships, because even if I didn't do well at the World Championships, at least that I felt like satisfied because I still had a lot of fun just like trying to solve that puzzle. of like what teams I really want to bring for those world championships. So 23, 24, I still enjoyed. And LIC, which was 24 as well. Peoria was fun, but it wasn't really for the reason that I just explained. It's just I ended up playing well that one. So that one was a bit weird and awkward, but like compared to the other results. But yeah, like those are the results. Like 25 worlds. That's the one that really I think made me super satisfied in the current moment where I enjoyed playing and the hard work paid off. Like the team that I was like helping a friend test for NAIC, where they used my team to do well at NIC, and I was like trying to build off that for the world championship. Like, yeah, like it was really fun, and like I felt my practice was really good, and the actual event was super enjoyable. So, feel like I just haven't had that really big spark competing wise this season. So it's been something on my mind for quite a while. Is that if I'm not giving myself the best chance to compete, if I'm not having the time to be able to practice for these events, is it worth even going to at this point? Because that is where I got the main enjoyment of competing. That's what I did, especially. That's why I loved going to tournaments in 2014, 2019. Every single tournament, even if I wasn't going to many, were tournaments I would really be like trying hard for the win, especially. And just having the result of even the process just being super enjoyable was amazing, even if I didn't do well at the events. And at least I would give myself the highest or highest odds to be able to do well in an event, because right now it feels like if I show up to an event with how I'm going, it's like, okay, I don't even have a high chance of probably winning the event. Maybe I'll be good with like maybe a top 32 or a top 64 or maybe top 128, but like is that something that's like, is that something I really want? And as a competitive person, no, it really is not. It's why that I think inner me like broke down, especially again at NIC after elimination. It's like I can definitely feel it's been in pain for probably a while, and definitely I think that was something that I just kind of realized afterwards. So not exactly sure. I think right now it's like it's kind of like the analogy of like, okay, you have a sick pet, and probably the best way to relieve it of the pain is to let it go. And right now I've been trying to figure out, hey, is it time to let this go? Is it time to let it go? Let the competing part just go away. Let it be free. I've done well at the events. I've achieved already a lot, and I've been asked this question several times. Like even before like Worlds 25, like this was throughout all the Scarlet Violet. It's like, hey, if you retired or if you stopped playing, would you have been satisfied with your career? And I'd say yes, I probably would have. So it's been something I've been thinking about for a while, especially recently. And yeah, if it's like, okay, this guy who probably still wants to potentially compete, and I can't, if I'm not in a position to allow it, should I just let it go? And that's something I've been thinking about recently. And some of you might be having your inner thoughts about this question. It's like, don't you play a lot of VGC? Don't you do it for the YouTube channel? And it's like, don't you get more practice than what most people get? I will always say the answer to this question is that making VGC content, especially like the forms that I do it specifically, is not, how do I say this? It is not always correlating with getting better at the game. And especially where I'm a level where I'm at now, especially. So when I practice, I need very full concentration in general. Like, sure, maybe I could study up a meta game in general, but like I'm usually pretty up to date about that no matter what. So it's not really the same either. So yeah, like I could make an entire video about like why making content specifically doesn't correlate with practice in general. But yeah, it doesn't help. It actually might be more detrimental actually. And I've had this conversation with several VGC content creators, and we are actually on the same page that it probably doesn't. So that it doesn't help you improve at the game. It probably actually more hinders you probably in most cases. So yeah. Um, that's also a thing. So I think where I'm at, I find a lot of joy right now making VGC content, teaching people VGC. Like I absolutely do enjoy it. And Like competing wise, I'm just not sure. It's definitely, it used to be a point where like competing at Worlds and competing at it was always going to be one of the highlights of my year. And it is always. It is always. But now, right now, I'm pretty happy in every other aspect of life at the moment for the most part. So, yeah, it's definitely not like my full priority to, you know, just play at Worlds and be like compete at the same time. So right now it's like, okay, if I'm not even at that, like, should I compete anymore? So been thinking about it and I just don't know. I still don't know the answer to the next year. I think this year's Worlds is what the first Worlds is I'm going to miss since 2014. I think I'm like 90% sure I'm not going. There's like 10% chance I go, but realistically, I don't think I'm going. Realistically, I just can't see myself at this rate. So, yeah, I'll be probably missing this Worlds for the first time. And next season, I don't know. There are like several different paths I can go for, and like I thought I might have had an answer by this time, but I realistically don't think I will. I could be like, okay, maybe I just don't go to any more events. I could show up to events and just be casual at most of them. I don't think I'd go spectating wise. I'd probably just go hang out with people and still play the game because at that point, it like if I'm spectating, I might as well play. But realistically, yeah, I'm not sure if I really want to still play at tournaments casually, so I'm not sure about that one. I might go see friends, but not 100% sure. I could try to see if I could figure a way to compete, or maybe there's like a format I really enjoy that like I can find time. But right now, like I am pretty busy. Again, don't have much free time. I'm either doing a lot of work, whether it's content or other things IRL. So yeah, it's definitely tough to say. Like I could sacrifice, of course, some aspects, but I'm pretty happy with like, how everything's going so far. So I'm not sure if I really want to sacrifice that time where previously like I had a lot more time that I'd be able to give to the game and just focus on improving. And I've had that a lot, I think, in 2014 to 2019. And I think it's kind of still allowed me to do at least decent in the tournaments that I've played at since I still have my fundamentals generally. But in an era right now where there's so many players that are just like hard grinding the game nonstop, basically, it's I think just not enough to be able to like where I am. It's just like okay, I still need every aspect to come together, and I still need to sharpen my skills. So like if I don't even have the opportunity to, I'm just putting myself at a chance where I'm probably less likely to win a tournament. So not sure if I want to continue that. So for all I know, I've heard rumors about like tournament locations, and there's one I'm interested attending that might be nearby because I would see some friends that I just haven't seen for a long time. So maybe like, hey, maybe I'll still go casually. But yeah, I just don't know where I'll be at with competing wise. I could be like, maybe I'll find some inspiration that makes me really want to like compete. Maybe we'll get a cool worlds location. It's like, okay, I kind of want to like really go hard for a title in that world's location. But I've also heard rumors about the next year's world's location, and yeah, it doesn't seem likely that's going to be the case. So yeah, I just don't know. I could be at like multiple tournaments next year. Maybe it's like a new era where I'm like at a new point, and we'll see. I could show up to a lot of tournaments, or I could show up to no tournaments. I don't know. I probably also won't mention it publicly either. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at. So right now, my main focus is just going to be, I think, maintaining the status quo of what I've always been doing, especially with VGC content, which is currently like my work, as well as like my other relationships and other stuff outside of the game. And yeah, tournament wise, that's going to be a pause. Like competing wise, it's just going to be a pause right now. And maybe it will come back. Maybe it will not. I don't know. So yeah. Also, I do want to make a note that if you are thinking about going to a tournament, go to a tournament. It's a great thing. Being able to experience the game in a competitive setting like this, I think is a really big joy. The only reason where I think that I just don't think it's for me at the current moment is because of the competitive nature inside me, where it's like, okay, I would want to give myself the best chance of winning the tournament if I do attend a tournament. And right now, I feel like I've just been kind of just showing up and playing. I just haven't really been like showing up to win. I'm like showing up to just play the game. So it's like, I feel like those two things are very different. And yeah, like, again, I don't know if it'll be coming back or not. But yeah, at the current moment, I just haven't been happy with like competing in tournaments as of recent years for the most part. And I've had a few tournaments where I have enjoyed, but I feel like I have been able to put in the work. But yeah, I just don't know if I'll have the time, and we'll see what goes on. So that's going to be the update. So at TLDR, content wise, more content, competing wise, on a pause, unknown for the future. But yeah, that's going to be it. And yeah, probably a super long video. But yeah, this is probably one of my shorter takes looking at the timer than I had previously, especially since I had to take a few pauses. But yeah, hope you have a good one. And yeah, make sure you check out the rest of the content. Hope you're looking forward to it soon. And I'll catch y'all next time.